you guys? Just finished. Focus. Focus on me. There we go. Got up, had to take my brothers to school this morning, so I've been up. I actually got up early today. Been being productive. I already did my treatments, knocked out all my pills, and now I'm about to have my, I guess, breakfast, if you would call it. What time is it? Okay, it's 9 o'clock, so I guess that would still be breakfast. I'm not a big fan of breakfast foods, other than like, I like pancakes and waffles and like toast, things like that, but I didn't really feel like that today. So we're going with a sandwich. We're going with a sandwich on wheat bread with vegan smokehouse cured sandwich meat with some cheese and some tomatoes. So I'm gonna scarf this down real quick and then we'll get on to answering some questions. This is usually the part of the video where most people would put like an intro video, like a little cool 15-second clip. I cannot figure out After Effects in Adobe to save my life for some reason. If anyone watching this has experience with making like short videos, like the intro videos like you see in vlogs, hit me up because I totally want one. I already know what I want. Super simple, super basic, just something to kind of throw in there with some background music to get cool looking, but I can't do it. So if any of you guys can do that, hit me up because I really want one. Instead of an intro video, it'll just be a really weird part with me doing weird ASMR things. It's gonna whisper sweet. I can't do it! Alright, let's get this party started. How old were you when they found out you had CF and what were the symptoms? I was 2 months old. According to my mom, I couldn't keep any food down. I was constantly throwing up. My diapers were just horrible because when you have CF, your pancreas doesn't work correctly. You can't digest food right. I have to take digestive enzymes every time I eat to help me digest the food. If you don't take those, it ain't pretty. So I would just cry all the time, couldn't keep anything down. My mom took me to a bunch of doctors and they were pretty much all just kind of said she was crazy. And then finally I went to a guy named Dr. Norcross and he was like, I think your kid may have CF. They sent me to Duke University. They did a sweat test and poof, was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. Adding on to that, quite a few of you also asked what my reaction was to being diagnosed. But like I said, I was diagnosed at 2 months old, so I didn't really have much of a reaction. I probably just grunted and made baby noises, I'd imagine. Another question that a lot of you guys asked, like listed here, is if you can catch CF, how do you get CF, that kind of gist. You cannot catch CF, you cannot develop CF, that does not happen. You have CF from the minute you're born. Both your parents have to have the gene, and then the kid gets CF. The severity of CF varies from, you know, super sick to some people are literally not symptomatic whatsoever. They don't get diagnosed until they're like 30s, 40s, some never get diagnosed. So you can get diagnosed super late in life, super early, really anytime. Like a diagnosis can take point at any time in your life, but you have CF from the day you're born. You cannot catch it, develop it. If anyone ever tells you that they caught CF or suddenly developed CF, they are full of shit. What do you want to be done with your body when you die? Cremation, buried, turned into a tree, donated to science? Meh, it's whatever. Like, if I have a preference, I'll probably just have them cremate me so my ashes can be scattered around in really awesome places. So yeah, I'll go with cremation for 400. Curious, why are you an Atlanta Falcons fan? Are you a Carolina Panthers fan too? Love your vlogs. Thank you for loving my vlogs. I love you too. No, I despise the Panthers with everything in me. Never ask me if I'm a Panthers fan again, that's insulting. Kidding, not insulting, kinda. Mainly just because they're fans. Their fans are terrible. Terrible, terrible bandwagon fans. Why I'm a Falcons fan is I went to Panthers games like a couple times as a kid, whenever we'd get tickets or something like that. And I just never got into it because I didn't like their uniforms. Like, back then, they had the super shiny silver helmets and they were like sparkly, and I was not a fan of the color blue as a kid. And I didn't know anything about football, about the actual game, so I was just going by what looked the coolest, and I did not think the Panthers looked cool whatsoever. Mom went on a date with someone to a game in Atlanta, brought me back a bunch of Falcons gear. I was like, oh man, look at this red and black. Like, this is awesome looking. And that was right around the time that they kind of like were redoing their logo. Michael Vick came into the fold. And so my mom started getting really into like following the Falcons, and since it was me and her, I started following them too, and the rest, as they say, is history. I've been a Falcons fan ever since I was a kid because of that. When watching and reading 5 Feet Apart, I was a little thrown off by Barb giving info about Will's diagnosis and treatment to Stella. I didn't think that you could give other patients information out. Is it different with CF because there is a real danger in CF patients being near each other, or would that not happen? Thanks. That's a good question. It's a little bit of both. So, as you saw in the movie, the way that they were with Barb, that is 100% accurate. You become like that with your care team because they pretty much become a part of your family. They are an extension of your family. And whenever you are constantly going in the hospital and you're always admitted on the same floor, like you just know these people. They know you. And CF nurses are a little bit more relaxed when it comes to things, and they won't give out super personal information, but if a patient does have something that's really bad, like bisapatia or something like that, yes, they will let you know. Because that's not necessarily breaking HIPAA, because they're not gonna be like, oh, this patient in this room in this, you know, this exact area, and this is their name, has this illness. But say they saw you talking to someone in the hallway, kind of like the Stella and Will situation, yes, they're totally allowed to tell you, like, hey, this, you know, don't get near, this person has bisapatia, don't do that. Because it can, you know, it can be very deadly if you contract that. And like I said, CF nurses are pretty lax, and if they know that you're friends with the other person and the other person doesn't care, then they don't really care. Like I said, it's a matter of just kind of who you know and the relationship that you have with them. So no, that's totally happened to me in the hospital before like that. So yes, accurate. I get this one a lot. If you could change you not being born with CF, would you? And the answer is no. It's a very generic and kind of cliche answer, but the whole it's made me who I am today, but it's literally made me who I am today. And not just like from like a CF thing, it's just made me kind of appreciate life, and just every little thing about CF has made me get to where I am currently. And I don't feel like I would have gotten that without CF. I feel like I would have kind of fallen back and just been your typical, like your usual like 9-to-5 life, which in this area that I live in and grew up in, that's what everyone strives for. That's what they want. They don't want different, and that's totally okay if that makes you happy. They don't want to pursue like their dreams or their goals. They're just kind of okay with, they don't want to blaze a trail. They want to walk in the footsteps that everyone else has made, so they want to go on the easy path. To whereas that's never been the case with me, like with CF. It's taught me to kind of go after you want, because I've grew up in hospitals. I've watched how easily like life can be snuffed out. And just kind of the regular like day-to-day average life that people go for is not for me. And it's also made me understanding and caring. And a lot of my family, not all of my family, but a large portion on both sides of my family, on my dad's and my mom's, they are extremely racist, extremely homophobic. They're the bad religious type of people, to where they pretty much hate on all sorts of people, but then they walk into church on Wednesday and Sunday and claim they're Christians. And I would have probably just fell in line and been just like them. But CF taught me that that's not life. It just gave me a different perspective on the world and on existing, and I'm grateful for it. So yeah, it's rough. If they don't come out with a cure, it'll probably kill me, but no, I wouldn't change it. How many baseball caps do you have? Just wondering. A lot. Like a lot. I wear hats all the time. At least like once my hair gets a little bit longer and I can tie it back, then I won't wear them as often, but until then, it's Hat City. If anyone has any snapbacks they don't want, feel free to send them my way. Have you ever liked someone with CF? Yeah, I have, and I never told her. Like we were always super close, but I never really told her that I kind of felt more than just like friends or whatever. And then she died a couple years ago. So yes, I have, and I regret not getting to tell her all the time. Have you ever touched anyone else with CF? Everyone in the pictures currently popping up on your screen have CF. So yes, the full answer to that is yes. Like I've said in a lot of my vlogs, The 6-foot rule and cross-contamination with CF. Cross-contamination has, it's not even scratched the tip of the iceberg as far as research goes, because you have siblings who have CF, they both have different bacteria, they never swap it. You know, you have situations like that happen all the time and no one ever swaps bacteria. So the way that I approach it is, if I meet somebody with CF, I abide by the 6-foot rule, I give them space. But if they're old, like if they're grown and we talk about it and they're cool with being close and I'm cool with being close, then, you know, we're close. It's, the 6-foot rule is not a thing that's ever been so terrifying to me. Some people are raised and it's like, you never go near someone else with CF ever, no matter what you do. And I'm just kind of like, if me and this person are cool, I'm gonna do it. I don't really care what the doctors say or what the rules are, because I've never passed anything to someone with CF. I've never gotten past anything by someone with CF. So like I said, it's a very tricky subject. I'm not telling anybody watching this right now to disobey the rules. I'm just saying, use caution, talk to the person if another person has CF, and do what, you know, each other's comfortable with. But yes, I have touched quite a few people with CF. I'm just curious, do you work a day job? Are you able to because of CF? Yes. Well, I'm able to. I currently don't work a day job. I've worked in marketing for the past 3 years. Before that, I worked in warehouses, unloading trucks. I've worked in grocery stores. I've worked in restaurants, kitchens. And for the longest time growing up, I wasn't able to. I had to be on SSI and Medicaid because I couldn't just buy insurance. And you have to stay with a company for so long before you can get employee insurance, because whenever you're on SSI and Medicaid, you can only make X amount of dollars. But even if you are way below that threshold, if they see that you're working, they like to do these things called reviews. So they basically send you this giant stack of papers you have to fill out explaining that you're still sick. Like CF is going to magically just disappear one day. And I've gotten reviewed 3 times in a year before. Like 3 times I've had to fill all this out to tell these fools, yes, I still have CF. Like it's not a chronic condition that you have forever. Whenever Obama came into the office and signed in Obamacare, he did away with that, so you couldn't deny people with pre-existing conditions straight up marketplace insurance. So as soon as that happened, I ditched SSI, I ditched Medicaid, I bought insurance straight through the marketplace, and I have been working ever since. Until this past December, to whereas my job, they laid me off because they pretty much bamboozled me out of my position. They wanted to pay someone less, so they kind of gave me the boot. After that, YouTube was kind of starting to creep up, and I had some money saved, and I was just really tired of working for companies that don't give a damn, busting busting your ass. And I was on salary with this company, so sometimes I was working like 14, 15 hours a day. I put in so much work with that company, and they were pretty much like, thanks, but no thanks. Like, we're gonna replace you with this other person that's cheaper. After that, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to put everything into YouTube, everything into my own brand, everything into pretty much being my own boss. And that's what I've been doing since the first of the year. So this is it. This is my job currently, is YouTube, selling my merch, my website. That's my main focus right now, and my main job, main source of income, all that. It's not a ton, but I'm not a very high maintenance guy, thankfully, so it's working out so far, and I'm hoping it just keeps growing. Is there anything that medical staff tend to do that you wish they did differently? I'm currently in a nursing program, and I want to know that I'm treating my patients the best that I can at all times, especially when I'm taking care of someone with a chronic illness such as CF. I would ask my cousin this, but she's barely 3, so I don't think he'd be able to answer me very well. Yeah, mainly the biggest thing when you're dealing with someone who has a chronic illness, especially something like CF, something we've been dealing with our whole lives. We basically have like a degree in our condition by the time, you know, we're 12, is listen to the patient. Like, a lot of people, and what I run into a lot, is most nurses know. Most experienced nurses who have been around for a couple years, they know the drill. They come in and they ask me, like, okay, how do you do this? Like, do you leave your pills in here? Like, how do you want us to administer this? Like, even respiratory, they'll come in and they'll be like, do we need to set up your treatments for you, or do you just want us to leave it here and you do it yourself? So that's really like one of the big things, is I hate when I get the new nurses straight out of med school. They just run in there. It's like they're brand new at it, and they're pretty much like trying to make a good impression, so they try to do the my way or the highway routine with me. I had a nurse come in and she argued with me till she was blue in the face. She was like, it's time to take your Creon. And how it works in the hospital is, say my Creon is what I take whenever I have to eat, so my digestive enzymes. I only take it when I eat. I don't just randomly take it. Say that you're, like on the bottle it says take maybe like 3 times a day, but I take them as needed. It just depends on how it's, you know, how the doctor writes it. So say they do that and they scan it into the system, it'll go into like time frames. So say in the system it's like 12, 6, and 12 or something like that. She came in at one of those times whenever it said I needed to administer it with like lunch or something. Well, lunch, I'd already eaten it. It was already gone. And she came in and she's like, time to take your Creon. And I was like, I'm not eating, but thank you. You can leave it here and I'll take you guys's if you want, or I can take my home dose. She's like, no, it says you have to take your Creon now, so I'm gonna need to give you your Creon. And I was like, listen, lady, I'm not eating anything, so there's no reason to take the Creon. And we went back and forth, and it was boggling my mind that just being a nurse, I was like, these are digestive enzymes. Like, what part of this don't you understand? You're a nurse. So eventually I had to get the charge nurse, and she was no longer my nurse anymore because I just couldn't deal with that. So that's the biggest thing, is just listen to the patient. Obviously, you do sometimes in situations have to like strong arm them if you have a very stubborn patient. But most of us are really good, and we know our bodies, we know our medicine, we do things a certain way. So the biggest thing is just talk to your patient and see how they like to do things. For the most part, us people with chronic illnesses, we have a certain way that we do things, and it's always much appreciated when the staff comes in and asks and makes a hospital stay easier. All right, I don't want to make this terribly long. I'll do another one because you guys completely bombarded that thread. I think it's got like 140 comments now, so I try to just go through and just pick one screenshot so I could keep track of them. But keep pouring in your questions. Like I said, this vlog was not answering any of the 5 Feet Apart questions. That's going to be in the actual like deep dive review of the movie that I do. But keep all your questions coming. Like I said, they do not have to be CF related. If you want to know anything else about me that's not CF related, feel free to ask. No question is too personal for me. I mean, if you ask me something crazy, I just won't answer it. It's literally as simple as that. But I don't get offended by things, and you know, it's whatever. So feel free to ask me whatever you guys want. Thank you so much for checking out the video, and thanks again for submitting all your questions. But as always, be sure to follow me on social media. All of my links are down here at the bottom, as always. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and then hit ding, the little bell, so you're always notified whenever I post something new, because who wants to miss it? Nobody. But that's all for right now, y'all. All y'all be safe. I will see you on the next video. I love you all. Later.